All right. I'm going to, first of all, talk about announcements and just remind everyone of our entry point expectations for announcements. So announcements function as your personal voice to the students. In EXP 105 and Psych 202, we actually don't have to create instructor guidance. So announcements is really where we have that opportunity to provide whole class glimpses into the content. And refer back to that. So with that in mind, announcements should express our instructor personality. They should highlight instructor expertise. They should reinforce the instructor guidance, so that's tying it back to the guidance that we don't have to create. They should present mini lessons about the week's content, share personal experiences and thoughts related to the topic of study, share need-to-know information, model let me learn and learning pattern language, establish high expectations, and provide whole group instructive feedback. So that's a lot to bite off and kind of chew on when we're talking about it, and that's not every announcement. We suggest that you provide between 3 and 5 each week. So, as you switch it up and kind of help students navigate through the 5 weeks of the course, we should see announcements touch on all of those things. So associate faculty asked for strategies to bring confluence into our announcements, more discussion and announcement tips and examples, resources for sprucing up our course announcements, and ideas for expanding upon content in course announcements. So taking that feedback from the survey that everyone asked for, looking and extracting these things, I want to present an announcement challenge, which would be learning patterns around your home. So I would like to challenge everybody to kind of think about learning patterns and what they look like in your house. And as you think about this announcement, I'd like for you to pull out a personal image that can be tied to learning patterns, connect that image back to the weekly topic, provide context. How are you tying it in? Don't just slap an image on there and let students, kind of have to figure out what you're referring to, but provide context for that, and then perhaps provide an opportunity for critical thinking or for content application. So to help you kind of wrap your head around that, I want to provide some examples of what that looks like. I've got 2 examples from associate faculty who are in attendance today. They were very nice to allow me to use some great examples from their courses. So the first one is from Jenna. And she begins her announcement with the statement, "Hi everyone, most of you should have completed your Learning Connections inventory where you learned about your learning patterns. Once you review Chapter 2 and take your LCI, take a look at the following 2 pictures." And she has nightstands in her bedroom. And then after the nightstands, she poses some questions. Can you guess which patterns are represented in each picture? Can you take it even further and guess which nightstand is mine and which is my husband's? I posted my LCI scores in my instructor profile, but just try to take a guess first. So I just extracted some of the language, but this is a great way that she infuses, a personal example. She gets students thinking about learning patterns, and providing that example from her life, students can really grasp onto those concepts in their own life. Sometimes it helps provide that real life application for them as they see things from a different angle. So that example is from Jenna. The next one is from Cassidy, who's also here. And Cassidy begins her announcement, "As we're comparing our learning patterns with others this week, I thought it would be appropriate to share a picture of the chore charts that I made for each of my children and their reactions. Can you tell that I use sequence and precision first?" So she has a picture of the chore charts, and then I just want to read to you the language that she uses on her slide as she does this. So she shares, "My son, who is just like me, gleefully looked at his chore chart and immediately went to work. He completed all of his tasks in a precise order and then ran back to the chart to check them off as he completed them. His twin sister, who is quite different from both him and I, looked at the chore chart with a bit of disgust, proceeded to start on one chore, but then became distracted and eventually abandoned her tasks. She is somewhat strong-willed both in her personality and learning pattern combination, and was not at all curious about the process of the chore chart itself. I'm assuming that she thought that she already knew it all and did not need nor want any clarification. My eldest daughter, who my husband and I think is from another planet, as she is nothing like either of us, is a highly confluent learner. In fact, I would wager a guess that she uses Confluence first and then avoids all other learning patterns. She did not particularly care for the organization of the chore chart, but she did get excited when I noted that we would change and alternate different chores each week. She enjoyed the process of brainstorming and coming up with chores that she thought were appropriate for her little brother and sister. So that was a great way to bring in so many examples, reactions, thoughts, feelings, and show how she was able to take the information and use it to kind of learn more about her family and her children. So thank you, Cassidy. Thank you, Jenna, both for sharing. This last example is one from my class, and it has my desktop and my husband's desktop. And I begin my announcement with, in week 2, we took a look at the different learning characteristics of each pattern and saw some common thoughts and feelings aligned with the avoid level and the use first level. This week, we are going to analyze how our unique pattern combination supports our efforts or leads to conflict when working with others. This picture is a great example of one of the biggest struggles I faced with my husband. Read why here. My desktop has all of the icons that I access frequently down the left side of the computer, my folders for each big project on the right, and a large calendar for reference in the middle. This would be an example of my use first sequence. It's orderly, organized, and the calendar is a must-have for my need to plan. My husband's desktop has over 30 icons and files. There are folders, documents, pictures, duplicate icons and files, no order, no ease of navigation. Every time that I open his computer, I mutter, "How can you work this way?" and then set out to organize everything in folders. He doesn't use the folders, doesn't even get irritated that I've moved things. He just downloads each item to the desktop again next time he needs it. It seems relatively simplistic, but the desktop nightmare on his computer is representative of his lack of sequence in most areas of his life, which is the #1 area, probably the only area, where we experience pattern conflict. And then I end my announcement with a question. Can you think of simple examples like this that can help shed light into the learning pattern combination of the person that you've selected for discussion 1? I can't wait to see what you come up with in the forum. And then I refer them back to the text with a little paragraph. So I wanted to provide a bird's eye view. As I read it, it sounded like a lot of text. That's actually what the entire announcement looks like in my class. So it's all on one screen where students can see that easily. There's not a lot of scrolling. So with those 3 examples, I just want to bring it back to that June announcement challenge. I'd like for everyone to kind of play with that and create your own and share a screenshot with a full-time faculty member. You can send it to any one of the full-time faculty members or post it in the CEDL to share with everybody. I know that this was kind of content-driven with EXP 105, but for those of you teaching Psych 202, taking a look at content and personal examples and just drawing it back, the IQR rubric shares that instructor expertise or states that instructor expertise is equated with the following, which would be effectively and consistently uses expertise in subject matter by providing personal experiences, connecting course knowledge to real-world examples. So that's a key component in really demonstrating and kind of showing off your instructor expertise. So I hope that we get lots of examples and have fun.